Hi guys, Melissa here with the Clyde Public Library, and I just want to say thank you all for joining us for our virtual summer reading program. First off, the theme for this week is Once Upon a Time. I'm going to be reading The Princess and the Pea, Walt Disney's Cinderella, and then after that we're going to say one rhyme from this Real Mother Goose book, okay? Alright. So this first one is The Princess and the Pea, retold and illustrated by Rachel Isadora. Once upon a time, there was a prince. The prince wanted to marry a real princess, so he traveled all over the world in hopes of finding such a lady. He met many princesses, but it was difficult to tell whether they were the real ones. Hello. Hello. Hello, he says. There was something about each princess that was not quite right. So the prince came home again and was sad. One evening, there was a terrible storm. Suddenly, a knocking was heard at the gate, and the old king went to open it. There was a princess standing at the gate. But good gracious, what a sight the rain and the wind had made her look. And yet, she said she was a real princess. Ah, we shall soon find out if she is real, said the queen. So she went into the bedroom, where she laid a pea upon the bedstead. Then she took 20 mattresses and laid them on the pea, and then put 20 feather beds on top of the mattresses. On this, the princess had to lie all night. The next morning, the princess was asked how she had slept. "Oh, very badly," said the princess. "I scarcely closed my eyes all night. Heaven only knows what was in the bed, but I was lying on something hard, so that I am black and blue all over." "That's horrible," said the king. Now they knew she was a real princess because she had felt the pea right through the 20 mattresses and the 20 feather beds. Nobody but a real princess could be as sensitive as that. So the prince took the princess for his wife. The pea was put in a museum where it may still be seen if no one has stolen it. There, that is a true story. Okay. Next is Walt Disney's Cinderella. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful girl named Cinderella. She was so kind that even the mice and the birds were her friends. Each morning, the birds woke her from her sweet dreams with their song. Cinderella lived with her cruel stepmother and her 2 stepsisters, Anastasia and Drizella. They treated her like a servant. Cinderella had to do all the cooking and sewing and washing and scrubbing. Her stepsisters never did any work. One day, a royal messenger came to the house. He brought a letter from the king. The stepmother read the letter. The king was giving a royal ball for the prince that night, Every girl in the kingdom was invited. "That means I can go," Cinderella cried. Her stepsisters laughed. "Imagine Cinderella dancing with the prince," Drizella cackled. "She's only fit to dance with a broom," added Anastasia. "But the letter says every girl is invited," Cinderella insisted. "So it does," the stepmother agreed. "You may go if you get all your work done, and if you can find something to wear." "Oh, thank you," said Cinderella. She quickly ran up to her room. Cinderella pulled a dress out of her trunk. "This was my mother's dress," she told the mice. "Isn't it lovely? It just needs some decoration." Cinderella's mice had never seen her so happy. A thin mouse named Jacques thought Cinderella would be the prettiest girl at the ball. A fat mouse named Gus agreed. Cinderella took out her sewing basket. "I'll need a sash and some beads," she said. Just then, her stepmother shouted, "Cinderella!" Cinderella hurried downstairs. "Cinderella, wash the floors," her stepmother ordered. "But I washed them yesterday," Cinderella said. "Well, wash them again," snapped the cruel woman, "and dust the drapes, and clean the windows, and finish the sewing." The mice felt sorry for Cinderella. "Cinderella do this, Cinderella do that," Jacques said. "Cinderella will never have time to fix her dress. Then her stepmother won't have to let her go to the ball." "Poor Cinderella," Gus agreed. One of the mice had an idea. "Why don't we fix the dress for Cinderella? We can do it." All the animals agreed to help. Gus and Jacques sneaked into the stepsisters' rooms. Drizella and Anastasia were getting ready for the ball. "This sash is old," Anastasia said. "These beads are horrible," Drizella said. They threw their things away. Gus and Jacques took the sash and beads. "Pretty, pretty," Gus exclaimed. "Shh," Jacques hissed. He was afraid they would wake Lucifer, the cat. But the mice made it back safely to the attic. Soon, every beak and paw was busy. The animals measured and cut and sewed while they worked. Cinderella helped her stepsisters with their gowns. Soon, it was time to leave for the ball. "Why, Cinderella," her stepmother sneered. "You're not ready." What a shame. Cinderella slowly climbed the stairs to her room. "Oh, well, what's a royal ball?" she said. "It would probably be dull and boring and—" Cinderella sighed. "Completely wonderful!" But her dress wasn't finished. She couldn't go. Cinderella opened the door to her room. "Surprise!" shouted the mice and birds. Cinderella thought she was dreaming. Her dress was beautiful. "Oh, thank you," Cinderella told her little friends. She put on the gown and hurried downstairs. "Isn't my dress lovely? May I go to the ball?" Cinderella asked. Anastasia and Drizella gasped. "Mother, she can't!" "Well, we did have a bargain," began the stepmother. At that moment, the sisters recognized the things they'd thrown away. "My sash!" Anastasia wailed. "My beads!" Drizella shrieked. The sisters tore at Cinderella's gown. They took back the sash and the beads. Cinderella was left in rags. Then Drizella and Anastasia went to the ball with their mother. Cinderella ran into the garden. She tried to remember her sweet dreams, but she didn't think they would ever come true. Her animal friends had never seen her so sad. nothing left to believe in. Nothing, Cinderella sobbed. She didn't notice the lights that twinkled and danced all around her. But Jacques and Gus did. They could hardly believe their eyes. The lights turned into a kind-looking woman. The woman patted Cinderella's head. She said, "You must believe in something, or I couldn't be here. And here I am, so dry your tears. Now, where did I put my wand?" The woman was Cinderella's fairy godmother. Everything she needed to help Cinderella was right in the garden. The fairy godmother waved her wand. Bibbidi, bobbidi, boo. 4 mice became 4 white horses. Bibbidi, bobbidi, boo. A pumpkin turned into a beautiful coach. A horse became the coachman, and a dog became the footman. The fairy godmother was very pleased. "Hop in, my dear. We can't waste time," she urged. "Don't you think my dress?" Cinderella began. "Good heavens, child, you can't go like that," said the fairy godmother. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. Suddenly, Cinderella was wearing the gown of her dreams, and on her feet she wore glass slippers. The fairy godmother said, "Like all dreams, my magic must end. At midnight, the spell will be broken." Cinderella promised to be home before midnight, and off she rode to the ball. The ball had already begun, and the king was not very happy. He wanted his son to marry. The prince had danced with all the girls at the ball, but he had not fallen in love with any of them. "Love at first sight only happens in fairy tales," the Duke told the king. At that moment, Cinderella made her entrance. The prince stared in wonder. Here was the girl of his dreams. The prince asked Cinderella to dance. Cinderella and the prince danced around the ballroom. Everyone wondered about the beautiful girl. "Do we know her?" Gisela asked. "The prince seems to," Anastasia said jealously. "There is something familiar about her," the mother said. When the dance ended, Cinderella and the prince walked in the garden. They were falling in love. Suddenly, the clock began to strike midnight. "I must go!" cried Cinderella. "Wait!" called the prince. But Cinderella couldn't wait. As she fled, she lost one of her glass slippers. The prince showed the glass slipper to the Duke. "Find the girl whose foot fits this slipper. I will marry her," the prince said. Meanwhile, Cinderella's dress had become rags again. The coach was now a pumpkin. The horses had become mice again, and the coachman and footman had turned back into a horse and a dog. All Cinderella had left was one glass slipper. The Duke searched the entire kingdom for the girl whose foot fit the slipper. Soon, everyone knew that the prince would marry that girl. When Cinderella heard this, she got a dreamy look in her eyes. The stepmother saw the dreamy look. She didn't want Cinderella to marry the prince. So she locked Cinderella in her room. The stepmother put the key in her pocket and left. Gus and Jacques saw everything. "We've got to get that key!" Jacques cried. Gus agreed. The 2 brave mice managed to get the key from the stepmother's pocket. They struggled to get the big heavy key up the tall stairs. Jacques and Gus had to hurry. The Duke had just arrived. His footman carried the glass slipper. Anastasia tried on the slipper. Her foot was much too big. Gisela tried next. She couldn't even fit her toes into the slipper. "Are there any other ladies in the house?" asked the Duke. "There is no one else," the stepmother answered. The Duke was just about to leave when Cinderella came down the stairs. Jacques and Gus had freed her. "May I try on the slipper?" she asked. But the cruel stepmother tripped the footman. The footman fell, and the slipper broke. Luckily, Cinderella had the other glass slipper. Of course, it fit perfectly. Cinderella and the prince were soon married. It was Cinderella's dream come true. Jacques and Gus weren't surprised because they always knew that if you keep on believing, that's just what dreams do. The end. All right. So our rhyme for today is Little Boy Blue, and it goes, Little boy blue, come blow your horn. The sheep's in the meadow, the cow's in the corn. Where's the little boy that looks after his sheep? Under the haystack, fast asleep. Thanks, guys.
Hi, I'm Miss Jenny, and here we are at Clyde Public Library. I'm going to show you a craft that you can do with our book, The Princess and the Pea. All I have here is an 8.5 11 piece of cardstock, but you could use construction paper or any piece of paper that you have. I thought today we would recreate the mattress on the cover of the book. All I did was draw some vertical and horizontal lines to represent the mattress. And then I took an array of crayons, markers, and some stickers to make the various textured features that they use to create the mattress. If you'll notice on the cover of the book, that's what they did to make all the various mattresses. They use texture to give the appearance of all the different mattresses throughout the book. You would think that that would be hard to do, but it's really a matter of using various geometric shapes and changing those, and different applications of your utensils to give all the various dimensions to the mattresses. And it's quite easy. It looks like a difficult thing to do, but it is not. So I put a P between mattress 1 and mattress 2. And I put the word P there. You wouldn't have to do that. If your child does not have the ability to draw geometric shapes over and over again, you might want to choose to just gather different stickers that you have around the house and allow your child to put the stickers on the various mattress shapes. I started here by putting vertical lines very close together, and then you can go ahead and continue the pattern by spacing the vertical lines further apart, and then go back and put the vertical lines closer together. You will need to direct your child or allow your child to go with their own design. But you might put in a little bit art lesson here by telling them that it will look different on how they space their lines. Here is a scallop effect just using half circles. Here we started with the animal print, and I simply filled in the space of the solid color, and then I cut out shapes with construction paper. Simple to do. Or they could simply draw in the darker spaces. Here is a line of stickers, solid space here, and then you could even do some stamping with a potato cutout. Again, a solid space, and then some squiggly lines. The project is easy, and it can be quite fun, just coming up with all different kinds of designs for your mattress. Have fun with this. It's simple, it's easy, and it can last a few minutes to several minutes, even an hour. It's a lot of fun playing with textures to create a piece of artwork. I hope you have fun with this. Remember, we will be giving out craft bags when the crafts entail special items that you may not have at home. This one, you have all the materials at home that you need. Markers, crayons, a piece of any white size paper, scissors, and glue. Those are basic school supplies. But on crafts that you will need specialty items, we will have craft bags starting the Thursday before the Tuesday presentation. Have fun. We want you back in our library, and we will be opening the library June 9th. We will have limited checkout directions available on Facebook and our YouTube page, Clyde Texas Public Library, so please look for that information. We miss you, we love you, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.